guys, it's FakeThriller. A long time ago, the last time you actually saw a real life video of me in my basement, I talked about making a video showing you the steps of how to make a video. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you the hardware that we have that we use to capture our gameplay and stuff like that. Then I'm going to go in and show you the software that we use to edit the gameplay. And then finally, I'm going to show you the render settings and the different effects that we add to the videos to make them as good as they can be. So let's move on to the hardware.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me say that this is going to be a sort of a guide for the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. There'll be a few extra things I could say about the Xbox, but mainly this is going to focus on consoles, and just because the process for capturing on a console is generally different than capturing on a PC. There's plenty of different ways to do it on PC. So first thing you're going to need is a PS3 or an Xbox or a Wii or whatever the hell console you want to capture from. And the second thing about that is you need to have the output set, the video output on the gaming console you want to capture from, set to component. So the component cables are these. I tried to set up my light down here, guys, so you can see everything. Are these red, white, red, blue, and green cables. You need to have it set to this because most of the capture cards capture through component and not HDMI. So once you get that set up, you need to get yourself a capture card. And that's what this is here. This is the Hauppauge HD PVR. It's probably the most common capture card used on YouTube. Pretty much everyone that plays on a console uses one. There's a few other options, including internal cards for your PC and a few other brands. I think a new one just came out on the market too for console PVRs. So after you get this all hooked up, that's something that I'm not going to cover, how to hook up a PVR. It's very basic. It's plug and play kind of a thing. Install the drivers on your PC and you're pretty much good to go. So once you get that all set up, enjoy your rat's nest of wires, and we'll go over to the game capture part right now. Okay guys, I'm back. My voice probably sounds as sultry and as smooth as you're used to. Sorry about the poor audio quality from the last couple of clips, but we do what we can with what we've got. So after you get your console and your HD PVR hooked up, you are going to install Arsoft Capture Module, which comes with your PVR, and it looks a little something like this. So basically what it has here is the game window. This is what your signal is coming from. In this case, it's my PlayStation 3. Up on the left here, it says source HD PVR. Video input is the component video. Audio input is the RCA on the back of the PVR. The PC audio mode is 2-channel stereo, meaning it's going to record into 2-channel stereo. In here are some device settings, nothing too special and nothing much to change. I didn't touch any of this. This should be default values. If not, you can see what they are, and there you go. Some people like to change these because they do change their overall video quality and stuff like that, but to be perfectly honest, any changes you make here, you can make in the post editing process or post recording process when you're editing with your video editor. Granted, if your brightness is too low on this, it's not like you can bring it back just as easily with Vegas. You want nice neutral values in these slots. Secondly, video decoder. I don't even remember the last time I clicked on this tab, if there's anything even here. Yeah, don't worry about any of this crap. So we're going to close out just in case I changed anything. Format settings. This has a little bit more as far as options in what you can change, and give it a second for it to pop up. And the most notable one here is going to be the bit rate. I have mine set to 10 megabytes per second. A lot of people like to crank that all up to 13.5, but what that's just basically going to do is end up with a larger file. The quality will be slightly better, but to be perfectly honest, by the time it gets to YouTube, if that's where you're uploading it, the quality is going to be a little bit less. I have it set to constant bit rate. These are all the different things that I have done. I honestly don't remember changing many of these things. So Go ahead and click OK. And for the next option that I'm going to talk about is once this little box goes away. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow. Come on, girl. There you go. Where it says PlayStation 3, AVC HD, and Xbox 360. These options are the file format in which you want to save your recorded gameplay. So when it says PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, you don't have to have these ones checked. Like in this case, I'm playing PlayStation 3, but I could turn my Xbox on just as easily and still have PlayStation 3 selected. When you have PS3 selected here, the output video is saved as an M2TS file, which is a Sony high definition file. And when you do Xbox 360, it's saved as an MP4, which is, I believe, like the Microsoft video file. AVC HD is another type of video file. I personally prefer PlayStation 3 because, like I said, it's the Sony high definition video file, and I use Sony Vegas to edit, so it makes a nice clean process from one program to the other. So other than that, you basically have enable preview and recording and hardware acceleration. I have them both checked, and then you just decide where you want it to save. I have it right on my desktop under raw video captures just so I know where to find it. And basically it's as simple as click and capture until you do what you need to get done, and then you click stop, and then you have your video file. And then after you do that, you got to go into Vegas and or whatever editing program you happen to have, and we will go to that now. Okay guys, we're back. We are now inside Sony Vegas. I run Vegas Pro 9.0, so a lot of you might notice this is looking familiar. It might look slightly different depending on how you have your whole video process laid out. It's pretty basic stuff. You have your timelines down here, you have your preview window up here, you have your different tabs and different selections up here. So basically the way we start is I'm going to look at project properties because this kind of has to do with the quality overall. This is what I have for my default project properties. I have it set to HDV 720p 30p or 30 frames per second. It's basically 1280 by 720, 29.97 frames per second. Height and width 1280 by 720, and all of this I don't think I changed any of it, but here it is. You can see it if you want to copy it. Going over to audio, we do 44.1 at 16 bits. That's pretty much basic. I don't think I touched that. In stereo mode, ruler, I know I didn't touch any of this stuff. So that's that. You can copy it if you want. It's up to you, but I think the big difference comes in with the render settings and the effects. So if you're like me, you play Battlefield and that's what you're looking to post. So let's go ahead. Actually, I believe the clip I want is going to be on the desktop or in my raw video captures. There's a few things that you need to do every time you load a game like Battlefield 3 into your video editor. The first one, if you're recording with an HD PVR, if you click anywhere in the track, you see in this preview window, you see this clipping that occurs, this black bar around the outside. That's because for whatever reason the PVR is capturing just a slightly bigger image than what is being projected by your output. So we want to fix that because nobody likes black bars. Battlefield 3 is actually one of the worst offenders in this. I don't know if it's the game's fault or if it's the PVR, but it seems to be different for every game, and the black bars are actually really noticeable. So what you're going to want to do is you come over here, and you want to do this before you edit anything, because if you change this now, all you have to do is make one fix. But if you go ahead and let's say you split this into two different pieces, now you have to fix it on this one and you have to fix it on this one. Let's go ahead and undo that. So you come over here, there's a little crop symbol. You click that and it's going to bring up this window here. It was on my other monitor, but I'll show you guys. Oh, There we go. Now, I have a preset saved called, it's actually called New Black Ops Fix because, oh no, sorry, BF3, boom. And it fixes it. And what it did is it basically grabbed the corners here and it just pulled it in a little bit. So a good way to think about it is this F right here, this big rectangle that's labeled with the F, is your camera frame. This is what you're going to see. So you want to pull it in just a little bit all the way around. You're not going to miss anything crazy on the screen. You're obviously just trimming the border. And you go ahead and close it. And now when we go back, we can see that those black bars are completely gone. Now, the second thing that you want to try and fix, and let's see if I can find a good example of it. Probably not because I was using a bipod, so I wasn't moving that much. Let's see if I can get in there and find an example of this blurring that happens. You guys might have noticed it, you might not have noticed it on someone else's videos, or maybe even your own videos, and you're trying to figure out what exactly is causing what I'm trying to do right now. There we go. I don't think I'm going to be able to simulate it right now, but basically what happens if you don't disable this in the rendering process and in the final video process, what you're going to see is some ghosting around anything that moves on the screen. What it does is, since Battlefield only records at 30 frames per second, it multiplies those frames and it does like frame 1, and then it creates a frame 1.5, and then there's frame 2. So that frame 1.5 is just a composite image of frames 1 and 2 to try and make the video seem smoother. That's great for some real life videos, some high action humans or animals or outside or family videos and stuff like that. But for video games where you don't want blur, you want to see what is actually happening. You don't want them to be creating anything in between. So a simple way to fix that is you right click the video track, you click properties, and then you click disable resample. And that's important to do. I would love to show you guys. I'll see if I can find a video in our records where we didn't disable resample, and you can notice the difference. It's ghosting, it's ugly, it looks blurry, and it lowers the overall effectiveness of or the overall beauty of a video. So go ahead and click OK. And you didn't notice any changes, but if you find a point in your video where it is really bad, when you do that, you'll notice a big change. So the next thing that we would do, let's say I was going to be making this into a commentary, I'd obviously want to cut off the beginning and the end because you guys don't need to see my menu and everything. And then I'd go in, I'd add an intro right here, and then I'd add an outro, and then you add a few more layers, you add your watermark, and then when you're all said and done with the editing, you want to come up and add video effects. Now, I keep it very simple with my video effects. Granted, it changes for every game because I like to tweak things just right, and it actually changes with every different video file. So when I get a file from Snoov, I have different adjustments that I make than when I'm doing my own. So this is my BF3 preset. I'm going to go ahead and drag it onto the track, and we're going to watch the difference. I don't know if you saw the difference that happened. This is the preset that I use. So you can go in, do reset to none, and it'll give you this straight line with these 2 points. You can go in and try and simulate this. And now watch this. I'm going to turn this effect on and off, and you can sort of see the difference that the color curves makes. So this is when it's on. Give it a second. That's when it's off. You see how it becomes washed out, but when I turn it back on, it looks like darker, like richer. Let me see if I can find a slightly better example. Let's see. Something that looks pretty. Okay, so it's on right now. I click it to turn it off, and it's got that gray haze over it. So you want to add some color effects, but it's very easy to overdo these things. You'll end up with really dark shadows, and you'll be taken away from the overall like simplicity look of the video if you go overboard with some of these effects. Now, the other effect that I add and it's once again very simple, is sharpen. Now, these are the presets. I have a Call of Duty sharpen, which actually is just a copy of one of these, but the captured video is a little bit blurry. It's not always as crisp as you want it to be, so I like the light setting. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this the same way I did by dragging it onto the track, letting go, and you'll see it crisp up in a second. See, there it is. It's nice and crisp. And I'll do what I just did again to see it's all blurry, and then when you click it, it gets all nice and clean and crisp. And this, once again, is easy to overdo. You see how it's set at 0.25, but if I bring it up to something like 0.75 or 0.84, see how it looks so hard? If you go back to my last episode of PC FakeThriller on PC, you can see a good example of over sharpening, and that's not something you want to do because it makes the game look really ugly. So get that to about 0.25 and you will be cooking with gas. You'll be ready to go all day long. So once you get your video done, it's time to render it, right? So assuming this was a final project and it was time to render, what I would normally do is go to File, Render As, and I have a preset all saved for Battlefield and most gaming videos. It seems to work out pretty well. The file type is Windows Media Video V11, and my template is called HD Render for YouTube, and it's got the date from August 16th, 2011, because that's when I originally made it. So I'll go in and I'll show you all my different render settings, and we'll take it from there. So this is the audio tab. I don't think I changed anything on here, but you can definitely go through and modify it yourself if you want to try and play with some things. Like I said, I keep things really simple, and I don't like to mess with things. So this is the video tab, and as you can see, format Windows Media Video 9, 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second is all you need. You're not going to be able to see more than that on a YouTube video, I'm pretty sure. And I do a 50-50 balance between smoothness and speed. I believe is the other way. So coming over to bitrate, I have internet LAN 6 megs selected, and then index. I didn't touch any of this stuff. And then project video rendering quality best. It might be set to default or use project settings, but if you just do best, it's gonna give you the best. So then you go up and you want to save it, and you hit OK, but I'm just going to close it. And then you just basically, you name it, and it's like saving any other file. You go and save it, and boom, that's where it goes. Now that's just a basic guide on rendering and stuff like that. I hope it helps some of you guys out. I don't get too fancy with too much of my editing, but if you don't know exactly what you're doing, it can be a little difficult. So for those of you who enjoyed this video, I appreciate you watching it. Go ahead and leave a rating if you want, whether you liked it or you disliked it. If you made it this far, I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe it at least helped you. So maybe you like it. And I appreciate you guys' time, and we will catch you guys later. Peace out.